benefit from workflows that involve Dynamo and Formit. So before we proceed, I would ask that if you're not speaking, it would be good to mute your microphone so we won't have distractions while we're on. All right. So we're going to start with a short presentation. Hold on. Can you see my screen now? Hello? Hello? Hello, can you guys hear me?
You.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Yeah, Zoe, maybe just let me, feedback to know connection is still okay.
Okay.
All right. So, okay, before we go, let me just take a quick poll. Like, how many architects do we have in here? Can you just signify and let me just say here? So I have an idea, you know, the proportion, architects, engineers, etc. How many architects do we have? You could put it in the chat box. Okay, yeah, civil engineer, okay. Any architect? Any other discipline apart from engineering? Quantity surveyor, okay. Okay. So far, civil engineers mostly and quantity surveyors. Okay. Now this architect, okay, cool. This presentation is going to give you an insight into how you can use the combination of Dynamo and Formit together in your design iterations. It's a workflow that helps you maximize and optimize your design decisions right from the beginning before you go into the detailing aspect of it. And it unlocks the power of the cloud as well in your workflow. So the big question is, why are we even changing the way we work in any, why are we doing that at all? Why are we splitting all this conceptual design, connected design? Why? What is the reason behind all of this? There are trends that are currently going on in the industry where you have that architects are basically moving away from production and they are focusing on the early design focus. They are putting more effort in the early stages of design and optimizing the results that come as a result of this. There's a desire to have well-integrated solutions that you can extract from your Revit model, your BIM model, and also a growing interest in complex models that feature energy considerations that are aesthetically pleasing and literally works of art. Now, we know how difficult it will be to manually try to work with some of these shapes, and especially if you are working in modeling software. So this is where we look at what is on ground at the moment. We still do a lot of hand drawings. And when it comes to the point of making improvements and going from one step to the other in the design process, it's still the same way we were designing 10, 20, 30 years ago. A lot of sketches, and then sometimes we lose information when we are transferring from one mode to the other. Now, why should you be considering Formit? Now, Formit comes in different versions. There's a version that you can use on your iPad, and you can design using touch input. And then there's one that is based on the desktop. Now, the benefits are very straightforward. You are able to work smarter when you use BIM-based conceptual design. You're able to pull in information, you're able to analyze, you're able to get in crucial detail that would help you in your decision making as your design progresses. You're able to create design concepts with tools that are just as if you're sketching. And you can, like I said earlier, you can start your analysis way earlier before you even add a single wall or a single window. You can also collaborate with several people at the same time. While you're still coming up with your conceptual designs, you can start talking with your structural engineer if you're an architect, or you can start talking with different professionals even while you're still working with masses and shapes. Now, you are able to connect these designs and concepts that you come up with your native Autodesk integration, meaning that from Formit, you can also go into Revit, and you can move between Formit and Revit seamlessly. And like I said again, you could be designing the same project at the same time with other members of your team seamlessly using the power of the cloud. So basically, you are able to capture design ideas quickly. You can sketch it, you can push-pull, which I'm sure a lot of us that use SketchUp will be familiar with. You can add realism, you can add materials, and your design is location aware, which is to scale, context sensitive. You're not just designing on a blank plane hanging somewhere in space. Again, I'm going to show you all of this. You are able to run analysis, and the feedback from the analysis would help you in making choices in materials that you're using, in the orientation, in kind of shading devices, etc., which is based on actual analysis of whatever design you're proposing. Like I said, it's available. You can use it on your phones. If you have the iPhone or Android tablets, you can sit down with your client and work on these sketches. You can bring in even your hand sketches, bring it into Formit, and then play with it to come out with more complex designs as time goes on. You can save your designs in the cloud, or you can save to your PC, meaning that the fact that maybe you are in your car on a trip and then an idea comes to you, it shouldn't limit your ability to design. You can bring out your phone, sketch out the design quickly. You can start communicating with someone that is back in the office, and you're looking at the model together. And then there's no more anchor to the table when it comes to designing and working in the AEC industry. Okay, there's a success story here. I hope, let me know if you can hear the audio.
So I'm using Formit to design the bento box, and what my plan is to take a standard shipping container, which is about 160 square feet, and make it feel like it is
hold on, do that again.
So I'm using Formit to design the bento box, and what my plan is to take a standard shipping container, which is about 160 square feet, and make it feel like it is 2 or 3 times larger than that. I've been interested in small houses for quite a while now, and this software has enabled me to focus on doing lots of different design iterations quickly. I can get an idea captured, and then I can quickly make a copy and then manipulate it further, and then study multiple designs and kind of compare them. One of the ways that I like to use the tool is to just sort of think about the shipping container as a box that could be carved up and sliced and moved around. Formit was really helpful in allowing me to sketch different design ideas, especially once I got to the detail level. And so some of the details that I've broken out are things like what the sleeping platform looks like. So these are drawers that also become steps. In the latest version, what I did was I started modeling it in Revit, and then I brought it back in to Formit to sort of experiment a little more. Is this one shows the wood cladding and insulation on the exterior, and to get full headroom on top of this sleeping platform, there'd be a pop-out up here with a butterfly roof and the ability to capture rainwater. This takes sketching to the next level.
Okay, did you all get that? Hello? Okay, I'll assume you heard. So I'm going to start a bit of presentation now, show you briefly how this works. Just give me a minute to make sure. So I'll start with Dynamo. And then from there, we'll move on to Formit. Okay. Dynamo. Please let me know when you can see the Dynamo screen. Can you see the Dynamo screen, please? Let me know once the Dynamo screen is showing. Yes, okay, beautiful. That's from Femi. Thank you, Femi. All right. So this Dynamo is basically a visual scripting software. You are actually creating code. You are creating scripts. You are programming, but you are doing it in a visual way. And a lot of you might be thinking that what is the relevance of coding? What has it got to do with design? All I want to do is sketch and have my building and live. But it is important to know that when you are able to play around with different design ideas in a way that is fast and intuitive, the end result comes out way better than when you have to go with maybe the first or second design you've gotten because you don't have the ability to play around so much. So that is why this is the way of the future. In fact, once you start using Dynamo a bit, you will understand that in the future, the computer is going to have a very great part to play in how we design moving forward. Computers are going to be designing cars, computers are going to be designing houses, even your structural components. You're going to have artificial intelligence working on these elements. And this is the beginning. If we don't start learning stuff like this now, it's going to be very difficult when the time comes. So what I basically want to do now is to create a concept for a residential building. I want it to be composed of one duplex, as we say in Nigeria, and the other part, two flats. So one unit will be a flat, a duplex, and the others will be flats. So how do I start in Dynamo? I'm not going to go and explain, but basically, I'm going to start by creating a rectangle. This is the code you can see that there's a rectangle down here, which will become clearer as we go on anyway. So the this code box has inputs and outputs, right? So I need to create another that would input into that and give us an output. This is what I'm trying to do, is to create the site. So width, let's name this width so that it will be easy for us to follow. And then this will be the length of the site. Okay, we can make this 18 and make this 36, standard plot. So I simply plug in the output, and you can see down here that we have a shape. And when I click in my length, here we go with the site. Now, if I change in components of this, it will update in the scene here. But this is not even the main thing that we need to do. This is just an outline to guide in the design process. So I'm going to put in a number again. And that's going to be the target area for the apartment, the floor area. I'm going to go with 100 for now. Let's make this target area. Don't worry, I'm not going to do this for long. I just want you to see how we put this together. The main work is for you to understand how this works in conjunction with Formit. But you need to understand that starting from the basic groundwork to the complex ones, that's how we build up scripts in Dynamo. I'm also going to put in a number slider. This makes it easy for me to easily manipulate the shapes here without having to enter in a number all the time. And you can see I can set in minimum and maximum here. It should all make sense in a bit. Okay. So what I'm basically trying to do is to make sure that this target area is functioning and bringing out a code that we can now work with. Are you following, please? You can see that when I put in, okay, good. When I hover my mouse over this operator, you can see that it gives the response down here. The result that we want is down here, okay? All right. Okay. Okay, let me zoom out a bit so we can see what I've just done. What I've basically done is to try to create the outline of the final design for the apartment that we're going to have. So as I move this slider, you see that the shape in the scene adjusts as well. Very easy, very straightforward. Now I need to manipulate this constraints so that it doesn't go outside the box. So we can make it 36. I can make this 18 or make it 12. Okay. So when I move it, okay, it should be 12 and then maximum. Okay. So when I move it, it obeys the commands. All right. Okay. So you can see that there's a bit of control now over how it moves. So let's assume that this is the outline of the building itself. Okay. So you have one unit that we can control easily. I'm going to move this to the side. And then we're going to make a box out of this. Dynamo sees boxes, sees a straight line as a curve, and lines are actually a connection of dots anyway. So we're going to do curve as a solid. And then we plug in this output into this. And then we'll create another number, which will be the height. Let's make it 10. Okay. So, I mean, you must be thinking, my God, we spent this kind of time to just make a box. But you will understand in a bit how powerful this is for design and design related fields. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is to put in the ability to move this box around the site. So we're going to create a translate. I'm going to create a translate box. So just bear with me as we put this together. This goes into geometry, and then we're going to create sliders as well. So you can see it's actually code. At the end of the day, it is code. This is going to move our x-axis. So x-axis, accept. This will remain it as the y-axis. And then this as the z-axis. Okay. So we just plug all of this in here. And now let's see what this does. As you move this around, what you will notice, can you see that the box is moving? Okay. I'm going to remove the preview here and here so we only see one box. Okay, so as I move this around, you can see that it's moving in the viewport. All I have to do is slide this. Of course, it doesn't make sense for it to be flying all over the place. So we actually need to put in constraints. So let me put in 0 here as the maximum and 2. Okay, let's make it 5. So it doesn't exceed the maximum and the minimum. Let's make this 5 as well. Okay. I'll make this 5 as well. Okay. Let's make this 3. So basically what this means is I have created a box that I can use to move my box around. This is, let's say, 1 unit of my model, right? And if I go back to an earlier stage in the code, you can see that I can still change the shape of the object. Okay, so let's keep this here. And I like to change the display. Okay. And then don't mind all of this. Just it will all make sense in a bit. What I'm trying to do is to color the output so that we can easily tell which box is which. So we need to input values here as well. And I'm going to copy and reuse these sliders. So since color using RGB goes from 0 to 255, I believe, we'll constrain it accordingly. And then we'll plug it in. Okay. Yeah, so this will now be R. This will be G. This will be B. Okay. So we'll plug it into the corresponding ports. Okay, but the color hasn't changed. So we need a number that we'll use for our alpha channel. Let's use 200. That should work. Okay, so you slide this, the colors should change. Okay. Okay, are you guys still with me, please? I hope everybody can see what's going on. Yes, okay. Thank you, Kofre. Okay. Okay. So now that we've created one box, what we're going to do is simply group this data here and simply create a group. And then we can go in and say apartment 1, for instance. That's all we've done now. Could easily be just a code and input in different information and outputs this particular box. So I can go in, copy this, and use to create another. So all I have to do now, I mean, I don't have to create it for every single box that I create. In fact, there are people that have made scripts for particular functions. So when you see complex facade scripts that create such, you know, like the Nest in China, there are scripts that you can plug in that will create that from a shape for you. So it's all you have to do is make adjustments to some of these parameters and you're good. So we're going to now try to use the transform to position the second item. Yes. Okay, so we're looking at transform on the x-axis so we can see our object. Okay. So you can already see how this is working out. Let me see what's going on here. Okay, preview needs to go here. Just hold on. Okay. So basically what we have now is that we've been able to create a code that helps us to generate an outline of the building. So, you know, I did say that we're looking at having 3 apartments, one as a duplex and the others as flats. And let's assume that the client just gave me that brief, but I'm trying to go with form follows function. I've calculated what the area, what the footprint of the building will be, but now I want to play around with shapes. I want to see what I can come up with. So I come into Dynamo. I come into Dynamo and simply put in the data that I need. So now I have this, I can copy and paste, and then we have the last one. You see that because there is exactly the same thing, it wouldn't change much. So I'll just basically go in to the parameters again and change it to a different color so that we can tell apart. And then I use the transform tool as well to bring out the last space, or should we say apartment. So this is essentially a way of, you could call it using, what's the word now? Bubble diagrams. Okay. So if you know what you're doing, it's easy to just play around and move with some of the parameters. So we have the 3 spaces now. Obviously, what is required is to now move it around in a way that we find pleasing. Okay, we can see this from here. When I go into, let me go to the first object, and then we'll change that around a bit. Okay. So I'll make this 20. I'll change the height to 20. Okay. If you keep an eye in the background, you see that as I'm making these changes, this is moving around. I'm already designing without, let me just increase my screen. Okay, good. I'm basically designing the different forms right now, playing around with the forms. So I can come in here, adjust the shape. Okay. Let's see. Okay. or 10. Right, then transform it. Beautiful. Can two screens be used for this purpose? I believe yes, you can. If you have a large enough screen, you can. I am assuming that you are finding it confusing the way the background is being obstructed. This to Kofre, you can use two screens. You just extend and make sure that the entire platform is showing across those two screens. Or just get a very large monitor and your problem will be solved. Okay, so we have this here. And then I'm going to move the second one around a bit. I don't want to spend too much time here because we still have a bit of analysis to go, but just so you see how the idea works, I can bring it out, move it around, adjust the shape, just so that we have a design. You can see that more or less now we have a concept of what this could be. Now, I'm going to open the one I worked on before so we can see what the finished, let me just save this and save that. And then I'll open the finished one so you can see. Okay, so this is the one that was done earlier. I'll zoom you around and then we'll go on to the next stage. So basically what I played around with was to create this as the duplex, and then we have apartment 1 and apartment 2, right? But this is just basic. Find out it's okay, we're all right, we find it convenient. We now want to go into Formit, which is where we're going to sketch and add in detail into what we are doing. Now, to solve this, you export you send to web. Now, this works in, it's all online. So it works in conjunction with A360 so that anybody can gain access to your model from anywhere. You save the name and then you save it out. So can you see my Formit scene, my Formit screen right now? No, okay. Let me know when you can. Can you see the screen now for Formit? Okay, thank you, Tabitha and Eugene. Thank you. So this is Formit. What we've basically done is to look at our basic building, and then we plugged in controls into it so that we can, without stress, play around with the model. Basic thing, check your units, make sure it's metric if that's what you use, or imperial if that is what you use. And then before we even start, we need to get a location. Now, sorry for my friends from Ghana, I'm going to use Lagos, okay? So let's imagine that they told us that, oh, our client is a very rich person and he wants to break down conference center in Lagos. That's what we'll use as our site. Yeah, so this is going to take us down to that place. You can import the image. For those of you that are familiar with this, you know that this is where the conference, where the civic center is. So we're going to import this image into our scene. And there we are. We have the model. We have the layout that shows exactly where we're going to place our objects. Now, if you are working in a context dependent scene, say you want to see the neighboring buildings, it's very easy to do. Okay, so I'm going to do this and place, this is the Civic Towers Okay, I've placed one there, and then we'll make adjustments to what we've placed to make sure that it fits in exactly. Let's go in. Okay. So this is the outline of that. Simply using push-pull, we can quickly adjust the model to fit the outline of the site. Don't forget that there are two modes. There is a mode for desktop using your mouse and clicking, and then there's the one for using your fingers on your iPad, etc. Okay. Actually, I can just enter in the distance. I know this is about 80 meters. About 80 meters high. Now, the way that Formit interacts with Revit is so that I can come in here. Let me come into this. You see, it shows me the square, the square area of the building that I'm working on, and I can come in and simply add in my elevations. Hold on. Okay, 80 meters. So I have all those elevations. Yes, the map is to scale. It is taken directly from Google Maps, and Google Maps is to scale. In fact, if you look at Google Maps without the satellite data, you will be able to see that the building shows that the road, the buildings are exactly to scale. They are exactly to scale. In fact, let me show you. I just will make sure I'm not importing the satellite image. So look at this now. This is a footprint, exact footprint of buildings. Exact footprint, that accurate and to scale. So you don't have any problem in that area. Now, what I've done is to create levels in the building. And when you're working in Formit, immediately put in levels. The software understands that this is a building, and then you have the ability to run your energy analysis, etc. But don't forget that part of what we're saying is that let's even create one or two buildings so that this doesn't look too flat. So let me crave your indulgence while I just add in a couple more shapes. In fact, this will be interesting. Let's add in this one, since it's just next door to the one we just worked on. And we'll see how it interacts with the sun. Okay, so we've done that. Then we just simply select and we drag and it goes up. We can see that in 3D. Let's say something like this. Fine. We can also select it and make sure that it has levels attached to it as well. Please, if you have questions, you can type it in the chat box and I will make sure I respond to you. Okay. Okay, very easy, very straightforward. In fact, if we want, we can put in, I know there's this, I don't know what to call it, but it's right there on top of the building. I'm going to add that as well. Beautiful. So we'll go back to 3D, and then I'm going to extrude that. I'm using the trackpad, so it's a bit, it's not as seamless as using a mouse. Okay. Yeah. So we can say this goes on to 5 meters and to adjust. Okay, he said you couldn't paste Nigeria in the location settings. This is Nigeria. This is, I'm answering Onyema Udeze. It's possible that you have a VPN on that's logged you to the US. But what you need to do is type in the exact location that you want. Let's do something for our brothers from Ghana. We'll just type in Accra, Ghana. And let's see what comes up. In fact, this is Accra Mall. I've never been there, but let me just click on that. Okay, so they say this is Accra Mall. You can see that this is the outline. If you are accurate, tell us, Kufre, you can let us know. You can import the satellite imagery, and it's going to give us the exact outline of that space. I can copy this. In fact, this is higher resolution than the one we have for Lagos. So it is without the location, you can't run analysis on BIM software because it has to do with the position of the sun, how it interacts with that particular location, the weather, etc. You understand? So you should try it again and check to see. All right. So we have this, but then we're coming from somewhere. We created a model in Dynamo. I want to bring it in to Formit. So let's just allow it to load. And then we'll place it. Let's place it right here, right in the middle of, you can see that it comes in as a group. It comes in as a group, and we can just move around it. You can see the road. This is the road that leads to a hotel, I believe. Okay, so we have decided to chance the civic center and place our building right here. Okay. So, you know, the next thing is to do exactly what we did with this other object here. The group properties, we want to use levels in here as well. So you can see that it slices through every single one of the objects, creating levels in them. Okay, now you'll see the significance of this in a short while. Now, having brought this in, and I click on it, what you notice is that some of the controls that I put in when I was in Dynamo, they are still here and they work. Let's see. Dynamo. Okay. So we make adjustments here, and it has an effect in the model. I need to effect and operate this. Okay, I think I've turned off something. So it should update in here as well. I don't know what I've done, but this is just to show you that all the properties that we put in Dynamo would come in with the model when we send to web and then import it in Formit. But I think what is even more important is that now that you've brought it in and you want to modify the design, right? Are you able to do it like a normal Revit model? Yes. So you can simply just come and use the basic push-pull, make adjustments to the design. So I'm just going to work on this a little bit and then we will move on. Just to let you know how easy it is to now create interesting designs that you can now work with. So I'm going to do that. Then we'll push. Keeping in mind that we still have control over the other elements, that is from Dynamo. We can take this back into Dynamo, play around with it, bring it back into Formit, and keep working on our design. So you can see that already I have an idea of how my building is going to look like. And I've not even put in walls. I've not put in any wall at all. This aspect is what we will find in what you'll find in Revit when you finally take the model into Revit. So I can very easily just go in, create another face. If you use SketchUp, you will understand exactly what I'm doing. You also understand the challenges sometimes of these lines and getting them to align. But once you do, it's a walk in the park. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. So we don't waste too much time. I'll just outline this. And then move from there. There's always a way out. Okay. For some reason, I'm not getting that. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, I know what went wrong now. It was initially a group. So all I was doing was ineffectual because it was part of a group. And also the angle at which I was working. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is to create a frame at this end. Okay. Let me just do it this way. It can be really hard working in 3D. Okay, I think we got it this time. Yeah, we got it this time. So That's what I was trying to do. We have this, and that will be the end of me trying to modify using the trackpad here. Okay, just draw one more line. We're good. Good. Okay. There we are. So we've created this interesting shape that we could go on and on manipulating and adjusting, right? But then we're now interested in analyzing the building. We want to get more information that will aid us in our design so that we're not just making assumptions. Okay, so what we're going to do is first of all carry out a solar study. Sorry, I don't know if you've been asking questions. Let me check. Okay, am I able to share extensions of models we're able to import into Formit, like SketchUp OB? Yes, there's an online list of the extensions you can import. Just looking at this, you can see that you can import .ax, obj, sat, stl, SketchUp, dwg files, Formit files, etc. So these are the ones you can import. It's very straightforward under the imports. Okay, Amanda. All right, so we're now going to do a sun study. We want to see how the building interacts with the sun, and maybe we can get an insight from that would help us. So it's saying that we should identify a location. It's taking us to Accra. No, we're coming back to Lagos, Civic Center, Lagos. Okay, so it's brought us back here as the location, and we said, okay, we've done that. Okay. So we're looking, let me do that again. I think I made an error on the Civic Center. Light imagery. Okay. All right. So we want to do a sun study, and we're basically saying that how does the sun relate with this? We activate shadows, and then we select the year. This is saying to the year 2000. So we'll move it to 2018. It's telling you how far back in time you can go. And then we're in April. So we'll go to April, and today is the 11th of April. So there we are. It's about 1 o'clock now. So if you go out, this is how the shadows would be out there. So we're saying that over the year, how does the shadow interact concerning the time of the day? If we put at 7:30 every day, how you can see, if you have, let me move this building closer. I'm going to move this closer to this, for instance, next to this one. And then we do our solar study. Let me zoom in close so we can see clearly what I'm trying to show us. No. Okay. So we put on the sun study, and then we can see that there's an interaction between both buildings. In fact, for a lot of the time, the taller building would overshadow the shorter one. And you could decide for whatever reason, maybe to move your model out a bit or forward a bit, depending on what you're trying to achieve. You can carry out a solar analysis that would let you see how much of the sun, how much thermal energy does the building receive in a month. You can see a scale down here that shows from cold to really hot. And right now, it's saying that in 1 month, the peak is around here. If you hover your mouse over it, it should give you a figure. That's 65.38. I don't know what WH is anyway, but yeah. You can move over different surfaces and click on analyze. And what you can see here is that in a month, this side of the building receives more sunshine, more thermal energy than this side. You already have information that you can use in your design process, because it means that whatever material you want to use to clad the building, it would make sense for you to improve and increase the insulating capabilities of that material on this edge compared to this place. Now, imagine you didn't do that, and you just you just put all around the building the same material. You know that it's going to be a waste of money, since you could have done with less here. You can do a yearly cumulative. Now, you know that over a year, this is total level of heat you're going to receive in the building over that year. You can do it just for 1 month, you can do it for a year, but it helps you in your planning and to make you understand. You can see that this guy isn't as exposed. But the funny thing is, at the top of the building, over a month, the top of the building receives heat up to this level. So you already know that you should have some sort of insulation, whether it's the roof cover they're going to put in or whatever. But this is part of the analysis and the insight that comes from the conceptual stage before you even start putting in roofs, etc. Now, for energy analysis, how does that help? So I'm going to click on this model, and I'll generate an insight. So it takes a bit of time, and you see it will tell you, should you cancel the insight or you let it go? But the insight that is generated is detailed and gives you a breakdown of different elements and how they affect the consumption, the energy consumption of the building in question. So wait a bit for that. Now, any questions while we're waiting for that to be done? Okay, I can see 3 chat messages. Okay, yeah, the sun study. Oh, you've seen the sun study. Okay, good. Any questions while we're waiting for the energy analysis to be done? Now, while the energy analysis is going on, you can continue your work. If you want to be modeling, you're working on your surfaces, you keep going. It's not going to stop because it's completely done in the cloud. So you could decide that, okay, what if we increase this? I think it's supposed to be the car park. We increase it up to this level. Nobody's going to disturb all we have to do is keep checking back to see when we can view our insight. Let me see if I can find the one that I was calculated earlier. Insight. Any questions still? Hello, can you guys hear me? Okay, cool. Thank you, Godfrey. So just 1 minute, I think, yeah, it's still not ready. Okay, so do you have any questions while we're waiting for the study to be completed? Any questions? If you're thinking, oh, what about the curved shapes? Can we create curved shapes? Yes, we can. I mean, you have the equipment here. So let's look at what can we find here that is curved. Okay, let's assume that this is a curved building. Yeah, 3 points. Eh? Okay, there we go. That's curved. Then we can come in here. I'm assuming this is what you mean when you said curved shapes. Mr. Kufre. Yeah, you can see it's created a surface immediately we finished to let us know that the ends have been connected, and then we can simply play with it. I'll keep checking until it's ready. So civil engineers, let me look for a video because I'm not a civil engineer first of all. And what you can do, hold on, let me just answer this first. For you civil engineers, yours is even very sweet. I'm going to show you a video shortly. Let's use that while we're waiting for this to be sorted out. Okay, quantity surveyors. Okay. Oh, wow, a lot of questions. Hold on, just trying to find that same. Okay, beautiful. Just give me 1 minute. What we're trying to tell you is that for civil engineers, you are able to come up with complex shapes very easily. You can get your complex shapes out. Let me see this. Dynamo. 1 minute. I'm going to get to this video. Just hold on. Okay. So it will turn up in a bit, and I'll show you the video I'm referring to. Also, our insight is still not ready. I'd only done it ahead of time, but you know, system updated. I had to restart, and I lost that page. So we have no choice but to wait right now. Okay. So this is a curve, right? You can move angles. I don't know anyone that really knows how to use this software with a trackpad. I would advise you, please always use a mouse. It's really, really stressful without. Okay. So I think my Dynamo file should be ready. Okay, still searching. Let me answer the other questions in that case. You said, let me see. Wow. Okay, how do civil engineers? Yeah, I'm going to show you that place. Okay, it's from Zoe. Then do I have to install Insight and all the other Autodesk stuff before I can run this analysis? Insight comes as a part of Formit. It's inbuilt into Formit and it's inbuilt into Revit as well. You can do this analysis inside Formit. You can do it inside Revit. Also, I think with the new release of Formit, it's only with AEC that you have access to these tools when you have the AEC collection. But with your Revit, you have access to ability to carry out the analysis. So it works inside of it. So do we offer training sessions and where in Lagos? Well, it depends. Yeah, we can talk about that later. We have resellers that offer trainings and have authorized training centers. So definitely you will get trained, that's for sure. Okay, said, how is it relevant to quantity surveyors? Now, you see all these things we've been doing since. They are not just blocks. They're not just objects. They are measurable. They are schedulable. Now, you might not need to use it at this stage, but your understanding of how it works helps you at the latter stages. Now, when the architect has finished his work here and has moved it into Revit, these components are then converted and they can put in place walls, floors, etc., which is schedulable. You can count number of floors, you can count number of walls, you can count the, all the information is accessible. Now, the thing is, in the, how do you call it now? The ways, the workflow, the preferred workflow, right from the beginning, you as a QS will be involved in, you will be aware of what is going on here. You will have an input. Remember how I started with the area of the building? That kind of information is it needs input from the QS even. If you are looking at, okay, how do you manage the costing, the costs of this project? What can we do? Before you even have anything too concrete on ground. So your ability to interface in the design process at this early stage raises your relevance in that workflow. You could very well function and say, okay, after you guys have done your design, after you've finished, after you've solved all the problems, just give me the drawings, I will extract quantities and calculate. But if you are able to, right from the early stages, because you understand how it works, you don't necessarily need to know how to use it. But you are in here, there's what we call collaboration, which you can do inside Formit, you can do inside Revit as well. Well, you need to have an authorization for that. But once I start sharing the sessions, wherever the other person is in the world, they will be able to see what I'm doing. Sometimes they'll be able to even work on it and say, okay, look at this place, work on this. We have a conversation. So you can put in your own professional input into the entire design process. Okay. Victoria, okay. Formit is used at conceptual stage. At what point in the design workflow is Dynamo used? So I actually started this entire process from Dynamo and then moved into Formit. Dynamo is, how do I put it now? It's like bypassing the skin and going straight to the bone. And you know, if you can control the skeleton, you can move the person all around. You drill down to a greater level of detail. It can be used for so many things. You can use Dynamo to schedule your, say, your rooms, for instance, in Revit. You can use it to control. In fact, let's just wait for me to get the video. Once I get that video, it should explain some of the other things you can do. Okay. So I'll get back to you, Victoria. Then you see, Amanda's, when you draw on the surface, does it automatically stick to the axis? Yes, it does. You can see this is, you can see it's automatically on the axis. If I move up to here, it goes, if I move up, it sticks to the axis. So yeah. It means curved shape. Not like this. Okay, 1 hour left. Okay. Curved shapes, like you mean like those complex stadium and all that. Just the same way. In fact, if you can do this in if you can do this in SketchUp, you can do it in Formit. That's it. Now, I don't have any idea the kind of shape you have in mind. So all I know is that, you know, if you can draw a section, cut a section to that shape and pull it out, it's going to be created. In, hopefully, still calculating. In, with Dynamo, you can generate procedural shapes, which would negate the need for you actually going in and designing these things one by one. So give me 1 minute. I think I have it. Wow, it's not there. Okay. Okay, I think I found one. Can you see the video? Can you guys see the video? You can't see anything on my screen. Okay, hold on, please. This is for you structural engineers. Can you see my screen now? Please let me know. Let me know if you can see it. Okay, good, awesome. So that's how a structural engineer would work with Dynamo. I guess those are the shapes you're talking about. I can't remember your name again now. Sorry. But you see some of those shapes now in Dynamo. So if I recollect, this was meant to be part of the design of a bus station, either a bus station or a train station in the US. All of this is still within the Dynamo environment. Okay, that's one. Hold on. Are you seeing the video now? So it has been moved into Revit, but still controlled in Dynamo. So for the QS, you can see how you're able to schedule all of these components, even though it was created in with Dynamo. Right. So that's a play round through that. And then I'm going to go on to the next one. Let me share. Okay, good. So this is now incorporating it into design. This is Formit. The model has been brought into Formit now. You can see that you still have control over the elements. So there's a constant moving between Formit, Dynamo, Revit, etc., just to create your designs and to get the best out of it. Oh, there's no audio on the video. This particular video, there's no audio. It's just the sound. Okay. We have a couple more. Hold on.
Hi, Dolapo. Thank you so much for the presentation. I'm